Oh, yeah. Are you excited? If you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, you should be extremely excited right now. Today is Thursday, December 22nd, and it is, 11 days left of the year? That's it. We are counting down to the end of the year. But the big news is the Cleveland Cavaliers last night defeated the best team in basketball, the Milwaukee Bucks. Are the Cavs potentially the best team in basketball? Are they in the mix? We'll get to all of it. Look ahead to the Browns at Thursday Night Football right here on a Thursday edition of The Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
everybody does fandom their way.
You've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Yes, indeed, folks. A lot to get to, but it all begins with the incredible performance by your Cleveland Cavaliers last night. The Cavs won their fifth straight and 7 of 10, but it was who they beat that made it extra special. The Cavs, who came into the game at with a record of 21-11, a season-high 10 games over 500. Well, 2 of those 11 losses came on the road to the Milwaukee Bucks, games that the Cavaliers lost by 15 points both times. Well, last night, it was a different story. Last night, the Cavaliers outscored the Bucks in all but one quarter. In that one quarter, they didn't when the Bucks had their best quarter. When they scored 35 in the third, the Cavs only got outscored by 2. Donovan Mitchell led the way after a slow first half, and the Bucks made a little bit of run after some careless turnovers by the Cavs in the fourth quarter. They cut it down to 6, but they couldn't get any closer, and the Cavs sealed the deal by a final of 114-106. And it wasn't the case. Yeah, Chris Middleton didn't play for Milwaukee, and certainly that could have played a role, no doubt. But most of the other key guys, including the key guy, Giannis, played. He was magnificent. We'll get to him in a minute. But the Cavs spread the ball around. They were just absolutely phenomenal last night, led by Donovan Mitchell. Again, he had a slow first half, but he got cooking in the second half. 9 of 21 from the field and a wild 15 of 16 from the line, 36 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 steals. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals to lead the way to the Cavs in victory. They are now 16-2 at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. The crowd, you folks, if you were out there, were outstanding once again. The crowd was just bonkers. The MVP chants, which I always thought was silly in the past. I'm on board with them now. Donovan Mitchell's probably not going to win MVP, but hey, who knows? Crazier things have happened. And if you look at the NBA standings right now, it's just remarkable. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who barely, made it to the play-in round last year, right now have the third best record in the NBA, and they are just 1 game back, 2 in the loss column behind Milwaukee for the best record in all of basketball. Again, after the win last night, a league best 16-2 at home. That is remarkable. I mean, the Cavs have played, you played 21 home games. They've played 18, so you're almost at the halfway point of your home schedule. You're 8 games away from the halfway point, period, and you've won 16 of 18. Struggle on the road, we know. They've lost 9 of 15. They'll pick it up there, hopefully, but at home, they are nearly unbeatable, and they've showed that of late, allowing only 104.5 points per game, which is by far the lowest in the league. The next best in terms of points allowed is, I believe, the Clippers at 107.5. The Sixers, actually, at 107.4. So the Cavs are giving up about 3 less points per game than the next best team in terms of points allowed. It's incredible. They're having a magnificent season. Yeah, they could use one more wing player. You're going to need great health. We all understand that. But to see the top of the Eastern Conference standings and the Cavs right there without LeBron James, it is fantastic. The Bucks are 22-9 after the loss last night. The Celtics are 22-10. They've dropped 3 in a row, including a loss last. Who did they lose to last night? I can't even remember. They lost to The Pacers, the Celtics are in a little bit of a scuffle right now. They've lost 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6. Their only win against LeBron and the Lakers. But so you got, like I said, Bucks 22-9, Celtics 22-10, and then the Cavs 22-11, third best record in all of basketball. After them comes the Nuggets and Grizzlies at 19-11, and then the Nets at 20-12. So, hey, Cavs are doing their thing. They're looking great. We wanted them to finish a top 6 seed. Obviously, we got a long way to go, almost 50 games left, so nothing's a sure thing. They're still only, even though they're a game out of first, they're also only 5.5 up on the Heat for the 7 seed. But they're playing really well right now. They continue this homestand. They've played a lot of home games lately. Got a tough matchup with the Raptors coming up. Cavs have struggled with them in their first 2 outings, but like the case with the Bucks, where the Cavs have lost 4 of their 11 games to the Bucks and the Raptors. Those games were all on the road. Remember, the Cavs lost the first game of the year in Toronto, 108-105. They blew that game, lost by 12 to Toronto around Thanksgiving, and now the next 2 games against the Raptors are here in Cleveland, including the game tomorrow night. So we'll see if the Cavs can keep it going as the Raptors come in, and the schedule's tough. So I love this, man. Cavs have played some good teams here. I mean, you think about this; they've won 5 in a row against all teams that are pretty good, or at least decent. Right? You got Dallas, Indiana, Dallas. Those teams are in the playoff picture. They're not great teams, but they're decent. Then you beat a good Utah team, and now Milwaukee. It's all been at home. Well, the Dallas win was on the road, the first Dallas win. But after some stops and starts for a little bit, they have won 5 in a row. And as I said, the homestand continues to tomorrow night against Toronto. And then Monday night, they'll host the Brooklyn Nets, who are a different team than the team from early in the season. Brooklyn was playing terrible basketball early in the year, and now they're cooking. They're playing really well. So these next 2 games will be a challenge. We know that Toronto, although Toronto's not been doing well. Obviously, they're 14-18, but they've beaten the Cavs twice. And those games are just never easy against Toronto for whatever reason. But you got to like the Cavs' chances at home, especially because Toronto's really been struggling of late, and they've been awful on the road. They're 4-12 on the road. The Nets, on the other hand, are a more balanced team. They're 6 games over at home and 3 games over on the road, which is pretty good. So anyway, I like the Cavs. I think they got a great chance to keep this winning streak going on Friday night, and I'll look forward to that game tomorrow night, and really look forward to the Nets game on Monday. I think that's an exciting challenge, and you got to be thrilled with how the Cavs are playing. As for the specifics of last night, we already talked about the performance by Donovan Mitchell, who led the way after the slow first half. But it wasn't just Donovan Mitchell last night. Darius Garland, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 9 of 19 from the field. Did have a couple of bad turnovers late, but fortunately it didn't hurt. Jared Allen, 19-8, just a steady performance as always from him. 8 of 10 from the field. Mobley was quiet, was in foul trouble for a lot of the game, and only had 7 points. And Isaac Okoro started with Lamar Stevens out. Cavs only used 8 players. That was it. I mean, they had Kevin Love off the bench. He had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Really good game for him off the bench. Jetty had 6, and Karis LeVert had 6 points and 6 rebounds. But that was it. Nobody else got any run last night. And the Cavs basically said to Milwaukee, okay, Giannis is tough. We know that. And Giannis was magnificent. He was 17 of 27 from the field. He had 45 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. But nobody else did much of anything. Brook Lopez was all right. He had 14 and 6, but he turned the ball over a lot. And he only took 7 shots. But Drew Holiday struggled, didn't have double digits. He and Grayson Allen combined to go 5 of 19 from the field. They got very little off the bench. Nobody with more than 6 points off the bench. And it was just a great team effort by the Cavaliers. You really have to be impressed with that. I know it's at home, but man, which the Cavs have been great, but you want to see how great they were. Well, they beat the best team in the NBA. That tells you what kind of home court advantage the Cleveland Cavaliers have right now. The way the crowd is, the comfort level they have at home, the camaraderie, it's just a beautiful thing to watch, and that was really, really fun. And I'm sure we were all getting nervous. I know I was when they cut it down to 6. But this team never, they're never out of it, and it makes you nervous sometimes. It's just that's the NBA, but it's a fun team to watch. A hell of a lot of fun team to watch, especially when they play. When they play these bad teams, it's like whatever. It's background. But when they have these matchups against Boston, against Milwaukee, even Toronto, because they've lost to Toronto twice, and even though Toronto's not been very good, certainly the Nets with Durant and Kyrie. When they played Golden State, even though Golden State's not been great, if it's a big name you're playing against because of LeBron, even though they're not great, or some of these other good teams, Utah, as we saw with some of our old guys, it's fun watching those games. Yeah, I mean, it's a little harder to get excited about it when they're playing Detroit or Orlando or one of these other, also ran teams. But when they're playing a good opponent, it's a whole lot of fun. It really is. All right, folks, let me talk to you about Built Bars. Got to pause for a second here. You got to try this. I'm talking about Built Bar's new reimagined flavors: cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, coconut brownie topper, white chocolate peppermint granola. It's Built's take on the granola bar, more filling, still insanely tasty. How about the candy cane brownie puff? Anyone who hasn't tried Built Bars before, let me tell you something. They are the best. They're revolutionizing nutrition, 100% real chocolate, tons of protein, low in calories. You're going to love it. I'm not kidding. There'll be the time before Built Bars and the time after. You're going to love them. You got to try this. Don't mess around. Get your 15% off your order right now by going to Built.com, BUILT.com, and using the promo code LOCKEDON15. That's Built.com. Locked on 15 is the promo code. LOCKEDON15. Built. You got to try this. Okay. Looks like Nick Chubb is going to play this weekend. Browns play, of course, on Saturday. Nick Chubb got into practice today after missing practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, right? Today's Thursday. The days are all blurring together. A little afternoon podcast. It's currently 2:35 Thursday afternoon. And so it looks like Nick Chubb's going to play. Myles Garrett is expected to play as well. Obviously, he's dealing with a lot of nicks and bruises. Jadeveon Clowney is going to miss the game. He's been ruled out. I think. Oh, and it looks like there's a good chance. Alex Wright is going to start in place of Clowney. And Ethan Pocic, who's designated to return from injured reserve earlier this week, is, according to Kevin Stefanski, is going to be fully activated. I would assume he's going to start. Obviously, their offensive line has not been as good since he got hurt. So Jadeveon Clowney's definitely out. John Johnson is questionable. Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Jack Conklin, David Bell, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Denzel Ward, Wyatt Teller, A.J. Green, and Ethan Pocic are all expected to play. Browns will have a walkthrough tomorrow, and then they'll host the Saints on Saturday. I think many of us know what the weather's going to be like. It is going to be crazy. Crazy. It's supposed to start raining later this afternoon. The temperatures are going to plummet overnight. It's going to turn to snow early tomorrow morning. Stay home if you can. We're doing the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I wasn't on today. I had some personal stuff going on. We're going to be doing the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show from our homes on both tomorrow and Monday. And we'll be back in studio on Tuesday. But because it's going to be really bad out there. And for the game Saturday, obviously everybody be very careful. Because it's going to be some crazy wind, frigid temperatures, snow in the mix. So it'll be a little dangerous out there. So, be careful. Be very careful out there. All right, one other thing. So in terms of the game itself, and I'll do a lot more on the game tomorrow. In terms of the game itself, with all these guys playing outside of probably Clowney, well, not probably Clowney. Clowney's definitely out. I'm expecting a low-scoring game. I know my man TA, who we had on last week, mentioned it's the lowest over-under total he's seen that he can remember for at least 15, 16 years. I think last check, it was 32.5. Let me see what it is now. Maybe it's gone down even more. I don't know. It's 32. Yeah, it has gone down more. 32 points. That's crazy to see an over-under in an NFL game at 32 points, but that's what it is. Browns are a 3-point favorite at home against New Orleans. I know for the Saints, Chris Olave was banged up. I got to double-check their injury report to see what the latest is there, the former Buckeye. Let's see. Saints injury report. Why am I seeing the Browns and not the Saints? What is happening here? For crying out loud. We already went over the Saints. All right. Here's the Saints injury report. It's not updated through today. So, anyway, Chris Olave had not practiced. So, it'll be interesting to see what the latest is. Jarvis Landry's been banged up, hasn't played much. So I don't know what he's going to do. By the way, including my man Earl, I've been seeing a lot of talk about how Jarvis Landry helped change the culture and the Browns should bring him back. The Browns don't need Jarvis Landry. They need Jarvis Landry is a shell of what he was. What is the point? Jarvis Landry's now in his 30s. He's a slot receiver who can't stay healthy anymore. He hasn't been productive in a while. I love Jarvis Landry. And if they want to bring him in as like a fourth wide receiver, I guess I'm fine with that. But I don't really want Jarvis Landry starting at this point. I mean, he just hasn't been a reliable guy for a while. He in the last 2 years, he's only played a total of he's played 21 games over 21 games over the last 2 years, and has 77 catches for 840 yards. That's in a year and change. So he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He has 6 touchdowns since he was a Pro Bowler in 2019. And it's fine, but he's not like we've been talking about. The Browns are missing a receiver. That missing receiver is not Jarvis Landry. I don't have any problem with bringing him in as a fourth receiver. That's fine if he's gonna have a good attitude about that. I obviously have no problem. I don't see any point of bringing Jarvis Landry back. Really, I don't. They're moving on. I don't think he really does much for them, in my opinion. But anyway, I do expect the Browns to win this game. It's going to be interesting to see how much because we all, well, not we all, but I know I want to see more and more of Deshaun Watson throwing the ball. And unfortunately, with the crazy winds we're going to have in this game, I don't know how realistic it's going to be for him to throw the ball that much. And we'll see what the weather's like for the last 2 games. This is the last home game, obviously, this Saturday, and then the Browns will play New Year's Day in Washington and on the 8th against Pittsburgh. So it's not like you're playing in a warm weather city those weeks. But, you got to be able to throw in bad weather. This Saturday, though, is particularly like there's going to be 40. We had Betsy Kling on of WKYC on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show yesterday, and she was talking about, the steady wind about 30, 35 with wind gusts 50 miles an hour or above. I mean, it's really hard to throw period in that kind of weather, no matter who you are, no matter how big good an arm you have or any of that stuff. So that's kind of tricky. One other thing for the Browns, 3 Pro Bowlers, none of them surprises. Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, Joel Bitonio, the Browns' 3 best players. Hopefully they'll be the Browns' 2nd, 3rd, and 4th best players next year, and Deshaun Watson takes the lead. But anyway, the 3 guys who have been stars for the Browns since they've been here, all well-deserved trips to the Pro Bowl. What's great is they don't play the stupid game anymore. It's just a skills competition, so it'll be interesting to see that because the game's a total waste. But deserved honors for Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb. They're great players. By all accounts, great guys. I've interviewed them all. I can't remember if I've actually talked to any of them in person. I know I have with Bitonio. I think I did with Chubb once. I can't remember Myles. I must have had an interaction with Myles Garrett. They were all very nice guys. So that's my experience. But well-deserved. Excellent players. Good that they made the Pro Bowl. Some guys that made it as alternates. Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Wyatt Teller. I don't see that. I know he was really good last year, but he hasn't been good this year. Denzel Ward, again, I don't understand how he's a Pro Bowler. He's played better lately, but that's just based on he's made it before. He doesn't deserve to be it. Jack Conklin, again, I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know how I understand how Denzel Ward, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin are Pro Bowl alternates, but good for them. Congratulations. Quick break, and then talk some Thursday night football coming up tonight. That and more next in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. I'm still here. Mike, camera off for a few seconds. All right. Thursday night football, week 16. The matchup tonight is the Jets and the Jaguars. It's supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be rain, but I think game time is in the 40s, and it shouldn't be too bad. But it is supposed to be raining all day today in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Jets come into this game, a team that looked like they were in decent shape to make the playoffs a few weeks ago, but they've dropped 3 games in a row. Their offense has been awful. Outside of, if you look at their last 5 games, they've scored 10 against the Patriots. Then they scored 31 against the Bears. 22, 12, and 17. Their offense has been hideous. Zach Wilson stinks. Their running game is without Bryce. What the hell is his name? I can't think of his name. Breece Hall. Not Bryce Hall. Breece Hall. Since he's got hurt, their running game has been mediocre. But they've lost 3 in a row, 4 of 5, 5 of 7. And I don't see things getting much better. They still have a fairly tough schedule. They got the Jags, who are playing well at home. At Seattle, obviously, Seattle, like the Jets, kind of falling apart late in the season, but that game's on the road. And then you got to go to Miami for the final game of the year. So I don't think the Jets are going to the playoffs. I think they're going to finish under 500. They're 3-4 at home. Now, the Jaguars haven't been good on the road either. They're 2-5. I do love the way Trevor Lawrence is playing right now. And I think right now, the way he's playing, he's finally living up over the last month or so to that first overall pick billing. I think that's a huge edge over Zach Wilson, who clearly is looking like a bust. Now, he's going to get one more season next year probably. But right now, Jacksonville's got a better quarterback, better running back situation. Both teams have nice wide receivers, but the Jets guys are useless because Zach Wilson stinks. Jets have the better defense, certainly. And, Jacksonville's a warm weather team, so it's a tough game to call, but I'm going to take the Jaguars. I like the way they're playing better. I think, I've said for a while, I think the Jets are frauds. I think they're completely cratering right now. Jets are favored at home by 2.5. I'll take the Jaguars I think it's a close game, but I think the Jaguars pull it out by 1 to 3 points. So I'll take the Jags on the road. They control their own destiny for making the playoffs in an awful AFC. We have 2 divisions that are just disgusting. The AFC South and the NFC South are hideous. There's not a single team over 500 between those 2 divisions. The Titans have the best record of the 8 teams in the AFC and NFC South at 7-7, and they've been playing terrible football. And I think the Jaguars are going to end up winning that South. But so I'll take the Jaguars plus 2.5 on the Jets. All right, coming up on tomorrow's podcast, more in depth on Brown Saints. We'll pick all the games in the NFL and look ahead to the Cavs matchup with the Raptors at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. That's how you can get alerts. Right, if you click on the alert bell, you'll get alerts for whenever I put out a podcast, whenever the show does, whenever we do a post-game show. Speaking of which, G. Bush and I will be doing a Browns post-game starting at the 2-minute warning between the Browns and Saints Saturday afternoon, so make sure you join us for that. But please subscribe. Please hit the bell. Consider becoming a member. If you're a Coaches Tier member for $4.99 a month, less than $60 a year, you get bonus content. We've been doing 10, 15 minutes a day, most days of bonus content, so you'll enjoy that. We don't do it every day, but most of the time. I'd say 80 to 90% of the time we do bonus content. So you'll get that quite a bit. Some other advantages of being a Coaches Tier member as well. Check out my Cameo at Adam the Bull. In fact, I got a Cameo job that as soon as I'm done doing this podcast, I'll be doing that. A birthday wish for somebody. Also, check out my website, adamthebull.com, and on Twitter at AdamTheBull. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. See ya.